Today, we are uncorking a totally new idea about where a great glass of wine really comes from. It's called CANTINA 5.0, and it's a recipe that puts people right at the very heart of the process. So let's dive in and see what that actually means. You know, when you picture a winery, what first comes to mind? Is it all rolling hills, elegant cellars, beautiful tasting rooms? Because the full story, the real journey that gets that wine from the vine into your glass, well, it's often a whole lot more complex and definitely a lot more demanding. We tend to see the romantic side, right? But the reality for the people actually working in the wine industry is one of pretty intense physical labor. I mean, they're dealing with everything from crazy weather out in the fields to the complicated and sometimes pretty hazardous conditions inside the cellar. It's a tough job that, thanks to new technology, we're finally starting to understand in a completely new way. Okay, so to really get what's happening in the world of winemaking, we first have to take a quick look at a major shift that's happening in industry as a whole, a move from one big technological era to the next. For the past few years, the big buzzword has been Industry 4.0. Think smart factories, automation, systems that are all connected. Basically, everything was designed to make production faster and more efficient. It was really all about the machines and the data. But now we're stepping into what's being called Industry 5.0. And this represents a really fundamental change in focus. Instead of just asking, how can technology make this process more efficient? Industry 5.0 asks, how can we use all this tech to support the worker, to improve their well-being, and make the entire system more sustainable and resilient? It's not about replacing humans, it's about empowering them. And you know, the researchers behind the story we're telling today, they put it perfectly. The goal isn't just about the bottom line anymore. It's about using technology to make the work itself better and safer for the people who are actually doing it. So, how does this all apply to wine? Well, this brings us to a really groundbreaking research project out of Italy called CANTINA 5.0. Now, cantina is just Italian for cellar, and what this project does is take that whole new Industry 5.0 philosophy and apply it directly to the world of winemaking. The project is built on 4 core pillars that connect every single part of the winery into one big cohesive study. They look at the workers' quality of life, the environment they're in, the sustainability of the process, and even the final quality of the wine itself. This framework gives us a complete 360-degree view. Let's break it down, pillar by pillar. First up, the most important ingredient in the whole recipe, the people. This project put the workers' experience directly under the microscope. So the first big challenge was figuring out how to get past just asking people how tired they felt. How could they get real, objective data on the actual physical strain of the job? The answer? Wearable technology. Yep, just like the fitness tracker you might have on your wrist. Researchers gave smartwatches to workers to monitor things like their heart rate, steps, and activity levels all day long. For the first time, this allowed them to make that invisible workload totally visible. And the data they collected revealed something really surprising. It turns out the biggest factor determining physical strain wasn't a worker's age or gender, not at all. It was the specific task they were doing. Manual work out in the field was incredibly intense, with heart rates all over the place. Driving a tractor? Less active, sure, but it came with other stressors like constant vibration. And working in the cellar meant a ton of walking, but with a lower average heart rate. Each job has its own unique physical fingerprint. Okay, so next, the project shifted from the visible strain on the body to the invisible risks in the air all around the workers. So, during fermentation, yeast produces a massive amount of carbon dioxide. As part of their analysis, researchers put sensors in a wine cellar and measured CO2 levels that peaked at over 5,000 parts per million. Just for context, that is significantly higher than the recommended safety limit for long-term workplace exposure. And why does that number matter so much? Because even at levels way below that peak, being exposed to CO2 for a long time can lead to headaches, fatigue, and a serious drop in concentration. These aren't just comfort issues, right? They are real safety issues that affect a worker's health and their ability to do their job well. All right, for the third pillar, the project zoomed out to look at the winery as a complete system, connecting how resources are used to the human experience. The researchers also uncovered this absolutely fascinating connection. Spikes in water and energy use for things like cleaning, cooling, and running equipment weren't just an environmental issue. These spikes almost always lined up with the busiest, most stressful times for the staff. So, managing resources more efficiently doesn't just help the planet, it can also take some of the pressure off the workers. And for the final pillar, the project's human-centric focus extends all the way from the vineyard to the person actually sitting down and enjoying the wine. As part of the project, researchers dug into the consumer experience by asking a pretty fun question. Could the environment, and specifically music, actually change how we perceive the taste of wine? And the results were crystal clear. People consistently rated the wine as more enjoyable when they were listening to music compared to tasting it in silence. And get this, upbeat music in particular gave the biggest boost to how much they liked it. It just goes to show you that the human experience of wine is about so much more than just what's in the bottle. This brings us all the way back to the core idea of the entire Cantina 5.0 project. This quote from the final report, it really says it all. A worker's well-being isn't some nice little side effect of an efficient factory. No, it's a fundamental structural part of what makes a quality system in the first place. So what's the big takeaway from all this? Well, Cantina 5.0 shows us that a great product comes from a great system, one that truly values its people. It proves that digital tools like wearables and sensors can shine a light on hidden risks and workloads. And most importantly, it shows that you just can't separate the well-being of people from the health of the planet. They're all connected, from the physical strain on a worker all the way to the music playing in the tasting room. And that leaves us with a final question to think about. What if we started judging the quality of everything we consume not just by the final product itself, but by the health, safety, and well-being of the human beings who brought it to us? That's the future that Cantina 5.0 is pointing toward.